housing scheme in Hong Kong. So, and he strongly advised the government to provide public and rental housing for the city. So, now we have the second speaker, also from Hong Kong, is Professor John Lee. He is the director of Hong Kong Green Building Council, and Professor is a professional architect and town planner and urban design. So now,
首先我很感谢台北市政府都政局的这个OURs的邀请，跟美国是一样，不敢用国语，因为我对国语就是不灵光，所以很抱歉对于I think I got the advantage that because set the sort of scene of the public rental housing in Hong Kong. So you more or less have some ideas of the history, the development, and how the system works. So for my part, I'm going to cover how we actually do it, the more practical part. Well, I am an architect by profession as well as a urban planner, and I'm involved in the actual planning, design, construction, and the project management of those housing projects, both rental and what we call open projects. Well, this is like a pop singer. I selected this in particular because I don't like to be bounded by this stage, so that I can move a little bit around. Anyway, so everybody hear me? I'm not going to sing, I'm going to talk. Right. In August, when I came here, I gave the first part of the presentation, which actually I'll do a quick recap this. And then most of this morning, I'm going to share 3 cases of public rental housing in Hong Kong. And I select these 3 cases in particular because 2 of this is concerning which means that we actually demolished this housing station to be constructed in the 60s, then we rebuilt it. And then the 3rd case is actually also an urban case, which concerning a brand new one, is site reform, and then we built it. So I hope that will give a little perspective of the rental housing in Hong Kong. And lastly, I'm a bit worrying whether I should do it, but I just did some observations because I was asked me to give some observations. So very superficial observations. Now, a quick recap, because I know some of you may not be in my first part presentation in August. Then quickly, I hope you have this idea that the situation in Hong Kong is that although 1.6% of the land, the total land, is used for rental housing, actually for Hong Kong, it's a very small place, we are like 1,100 square kilometers. Only 4% of the land are actually used for housing. And only about 24%, 1/4 of the land, actually actually built up, which means that 75% of the land are not built up. So that's why we have a lot of this, try to keep those like country parks, like those natural reserve area, and we don't build it because our land is so limited. And so that's why the solution is going to have high-rise, high-density development. But also, we try to get the benefit of that compactness of the city. A quick plot ratio, okay? Here you call the other side, right? Floors, FAR, okay? You call FAR, you call plot ratio. It's in the order like 5 to 6. Some of these people do 7.5, sometimes even higher than that. Mostly that sort of order. So that's why we have to go to like 30 to 40 stories. In fact, 40 stories is sort of standard way to use it for like 15, 18 years already. And these are the basic figures. 30% actually living in rental housing, and plus those subsidized housing, about 47%. So the average living space here is 12.8, except 12.8, with an allocation of 7 square meters per person. So comparing the living standard in Taiwan, you are much, much better state. You almost like double our living space. So you are not so proud yet, okay? Compared to us. I think last time I gave a history about the development of public housing in Hong Kong. Actually, if you look into the public, if you look into the development of public housing development in Hong Kong, dating back to 1953, 75 is always a story about the development of public housing in Hong Kong. It actually is the history of the new town development of Hong Kong. All the new towns in the 70s start with public rental housing, moving into the new areas, and we started with new towns. And of course, later, in the early 90s, we go back to the city, and there's an extensive redevelopment. I.e., those old housing, those old resettlement housing due to the urban area, and it's demolished to give way for the new development. So it's very interesting because the history of development of public housing in Hong Kong is actually the history of privatization in Hong Kong. I said that last time, I'm going to repeat it. Last time I also tried to explain the development of what we call extended block in housing. And my way of categorizing that is into this three, which I'm going to elaborate today. Quickly, in the old days, you have center block. You say, well, the center block is the whole Mark 1 block, Mark 2 block, H block, L block, Y block. We extort all the alphabets, and then you use harmony block. And the harmony block is the most long line block. We've been doing like 300 of those all over the place in Hong Kong. And then later we developed in the beginning of the millennium, year 2000, we had this site-specific idea to no center block. So all sites will be its own site-specific design block. Now, of course, later we find this is not really working because it's not really efficient in the sense of the production part of it as well as the economic part of it. Then we go into modular flats idea. The flats will be standard, the blocks will be different, so that you make them to the site-specific. Well, 8 principles. I don't want to read too much about it. If you look into how you design, how you plan public housing in Hong Kong, it always goes back to this 8 principles. Now, talking about this principle is easy. Actually doing it is beautiful. I mean, when you talk about people oriented, I just talking about this, how we actually realize it, then also I try to explain a little bit in the cases what has been done really to achieve that. Now, because this is rental housing, what's the value function of the time? So there's no anything decorative. So architects will have a little, quite limited in that particular sense that you have to really make it function effective and make the best use of the land and really do it very smart. And because the sites are so different, you have to do it very specific. And of course, enhance greenery. You don't want to have concrete jungles everywhere. And for the elderly, we are designed in such a way that it's good HD Sustainability is already built into the blood since the end of the 90s. So that principle of sustainability, i.e. that balancing and juggling among economic, social, and environmental is a must. So I will try to show how we actually try to realize that. Now what I'm going to do today is these three cases. The first is what we call the upper block. This is a small size public housing estimate. You look at it, it's only about 2.2 hectares, only 6 blocks of it, and then we have some welfare facilities, and talk about a population of 1,200, 4,600 flats. Now this is basically a resettlement estate. We demolish the existing one, and then we move the people to this new area. The particular aspect of this estate is that there is a high percentage elderly, 29%, compared with the normal estate. There's about therefore the plan is designed to take care of the needs of the elderly. And we have used an extensive passive design. I would like to do this later while we do it, because you are going to design for the sort of very low income class. You can expect all of them have using air conditioner all the time with all those electrical and energy consuming gadgets. So try to use passive design compared with active design. And this is one of the projects we got this silver platinum rating for green building in Hong Kong. And it's the first project for the China Green Star outside China. So it's a very high standard of green building requirement. Now, this is the old estate, so that you have a view of it. This is sort of like a Mark 6, built in the 60s. And the whole idea is try to demolish this bit and move the people there. So the whole area is a very, very high density urban situation. The concept of doing this, when we start doing this in the year 2002, is we would like to plan it and design it as a sustainable community and try to revitalize the neighborhood through redevelopment. So that is a vision we would like to achieve. And there's a whole series of actions how to achieve the sustainability. Now this is the block which has been completed now. This is not a model, this is reality. And now this picture was taken not like 2 or 3 years ago. This project gathers a lot of awards in various aspects, including green building, research, project management, as well as other planning aspects, like architecture awards. Now, I will go through some of those criteria which are concerned. The main intention is to share with you what are the concerns behind the planners and the designers when they do this one. Now, the basic things like connections, linkages, connectivity, how this is going to provide the parking, how this is going to access, etc. These are the MPR stations. Now, these are the must sort out the circulations, segregation of pedestrian and vehicle, etc. The one I like to highlight here is that in the design here, you probably notice that the center bit here is a major pedestrian and recreation area. Vehicle access is all from the back, the service access from the back, and the extent of the road are minimized. Now that is a very key thing in estate planning. If you minimize your road, then you get more open space for the people to use. This is a 7.5 population, very high. I can assure you, it's very high. And we are not using podium consumption. In Hong Kong, we use podium consumption and we can achieve very high density. No podium consumption blocks on the ground, it's going to achieve 7.5, it's very, very high. And there will be a hierarchy of spaces and all the circulation will be cross-checked so how you can interlink with the nearby development and the MPR station. These are the basics. I mentioned about the hierarchy of spaces. Yes, that's very important. People are living in very small flats, very, very small flats. So the only opportunity for them to live better is to go out.
So the design of public space is extremely important for high-density development. And there will be a choice of various public spaces from the more sort of open and civic level to the less semi-public level, to children's area, elderly's areas, exercise areas, and little pockets for various groups of people to make the best use of it. That's the estate that has been completed. You can see that that's Children's Bay area, and that's the central area. So it's a very high density, but I would like to encourage you to go there. Do it. Doesn't really feel like very high density yet. It's coming from Hong Kong Center. Now, in the consideration, it's not just a planning part of it. We really have to go really into what is underground, the geotechnical. These are the sort of deep rock area. And when we do the master layout of it, the location of the block, we try to get away from those areas so that we can reduce expense to the substructures, the pipe. This is one of the estates we first introduced microclimate studies. That's dating back to the year 2002. And I think you recall that in 2003 we had SARS, which means that the virus spread by the air. So, but here we are not aware of it yet, but we know that because of the very congested situation, urban situation in Hong Kong, the climate, the microclimate of individual areas varies. I don't know what was the case in Taipei. If you ask which is the direction of the prevailing wind summer, I don't know. If someone tell me, prevailing wind in summer. From southeast, okay. In Hong Kong, you also talk southeast, okay? Southwest. Southwest, right. Southwest, doesn't matter. How about in winter? Okay, right. Now in Hong Kong, generally, in the urban area, we say it's from the southeast. But because of topography, because of the building, this building talk about 40 to 50 story high. And the local climate changes. Even in Hong Kong, these three projects I can tell you, it's not from southeast. So if the wind direction changes, so the whole layout changes. So here we use microclimate. A microclimate is taking into account the wind direction, the sun, the traffic noise, all those environmental issues to be considered. So elaborate a little about this one. As you thought, the wind is from the southeast. Okay, that's the wind loads we use. Other we use the CFD simulation and use the wind tunnel. We find it's not from the southeast. So immediately the layout will change. Imagine it's not from southeast or east. So that actually helps us to design according to the way. So we use CFDs, and then when we do the layout, we use the simulation to check how we could locate the block in such a way that we can maximize the wind. In this particular case, because the wind is coming from the east, so we adjust the layout of the block in such a way that so the wind from the east is being channeled here. And then we do this 30-meter wide wind corridor, we increase the wind here. But we also know somehow the wind like you is from the southwest. So what we're going to do, if it's from the southwest, you twist this block a little bit. So if the wind is coming from the southwest, it goes into that direction and create that wind corridor here. And because the north wind is, this the southwest, this particular block is effective to get this wind going back in the other direction. So still we have the cost ventilation during southwest wind situation. And of course in the north situation, this is swing off from the north wind. So the major area in this case is being sheltered from the cold winter. As you indicated here, in the past, they thought the wind is coming from the southeast. But actually it's not, because it's from the east. So if you look at those old blocks like this, old settlement blocks. So this area is basically a stagnant zone, no wind, nothing you can do about it. Okay? But since we have done this, we have created this channel here, wind tunnel here, then not even this ventilation here, the whole area, the whole district ventilation should be improved. But also this area, which is supposed to be stagnant zone, will be improved as well. So the whole idea of going about here is that when we talk about sustainability environment, not only consider your situation, but also your neighbor. And the other day when we talk about, if you build something here, I'm not just including myself, I also include the conditions, the environmental condition of the neighborhood. People will welcome. Because if you don't do this, people here will block the wall. And just imagine the implication of that. That's one issue of it. The other issue is about permeability. In order to make the ventilation better, you also make the block permeable. Because once you make the block permeable in South China, because it's hot and humid, once you get permeable, just like the building, it is permeable, you feel cool. So that's why we also do the same thing in buildings. We have a lot of opening so that there will be a cross ventilation created. That permeability also will help the wind condition in the nearby area as well. This is extremely important in terms of providing a good air condition in the urban area. So we have done a lot of simulation and studies. Even the block itself is ventilated like this. In the old days, we used to have a lot of engine, which is not cross ventilated. And that's why we have all this problem. All the exhaust air from the kitchen, from the toilet, from the engine, and hope Mother Nature will deal with it. The fact is that some of these will keep settling there, and we have all these viruses, the problems, and health issues, which we cannot avail of. The other issue, this is a quick indication that stagnation of pollutants, concentration, there's no ventilation, there's ventilation. Then the whole thing can also be projected that for different levels, different zones, what the ventilation provided, and how does this compare between different time of the year and different humidity conditions. And this will be taken by time in design of the block. For different zones and for different units, then we probably work out air change per hour. So that exercise can actually help you to deal with that. And a quick about the block. In the design of the block, this is one of those early site-specific blocks. The other day I saw this example of construction. I think Jeff mentioned about the block is not very visually economic for construction. The most important thing for public rental housing is three things. You've got to construct it low cost, economic. You've got to construct it very fast because people have demand for it. Third, you've got to have good quality blocks so that people with respect, okay, you're leaking blocks of good, reasonable quality. In order to achieve that, in construction that, we always have this term called rotational sequence, which means that when the formwork of this part, after it's completed, it will rotate to the other part to be used. So instead of saying 100% formwork, you do 50%. And this is a very efficient of construction. Ventilation of this mentioned, which will help to cause ventilation inside the public space as well as the flats. This will also give additional light to the long corridor. This is our approach, trying to reduce the scale. If you look into the old rental Harmony block, it is 20 flats per floor. 20 flats per floor is huge scale. Too many people there. So if you chop it up into two, split the hall, and then you have 10. To compare with the private of 8 flats per floor, it's still a very reasonable scale. The lighting, a lot of lighting studies and simulations, so that we can ensure there will be maximum natural daylighting into the flats as well as the corridor. We actually do studies about this, because by doing that, we reduce the use of artificial lighting. And again, that will help to reduce the cost. We also look into the shading studies, because of all this whole block, this will provide significant shade into the public area. And during summer, if you have shade, the usability of this area will be much better. Views. How are we going to design a very compact situation and also maximize the view from each of the units? The reduction of glare as well. When we have lights, we also have the problem of glare. So we apply, again, lighting studies to maximize the daylight emission, ventilation, as well as minimize overlooking of parties. So that's the estate. That's the public space created. Incidentally, that structure here serves several purposes. It's not just the length of the staircase, it is also an informal space for gathering, and also the shape of that is done in such a way that so that when the wind is coming from the east and channel to the stream corridor, that will actually be diverted the wind back to the lower class. So it actually helps to improve the wind condition and the comfortability in the plaza area. That's the estate. This is very popular because of the elderly. There's a lot of elderly sitting there. This is public space. A lot of things happen. You put the facility, the shopping centers, the youth and elderly centers around here, so that there will be activity here. Now, this particular essay, I'd like to emphasize one point regarding the public, what you call community engagement. Now, the comfort level, all this is trying to be caring so that we create a more human comfort level. So that people know that you really care for them. You know that they don't have all the money spent in the energy, and you try to maximize the comfort, the ventilation, and use of artificial light. Now the other thing is that this one we have gone through about like 6 to 7 years of engagement since the planning stage in the early 2002 and finished completion in 2009. So it's a series of engagement of like 50 meetings, forums, discussions, seminars, blah, 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 or something, for different levels. And then involving, going back to the heritage and history of the estate, involving moving around, and then our architects will actually go out to the site and speak to the residents, how they would like the blocks layout. We try to explain to them how we use the microplanet studies and all this stuff. So, and then we also train the local social workers so that they will also help us to disseminate information, discuss with the local tenants, and then we talk to them about the essay to be completed, discuss with them, make videos, and help them to select a flat, etc. So that's a very long process of engagement. And actually the experience is very good. Although initially it's terrible because we have to go after office, not 8 o'clock, in the evening, and discuss with them all this and you can already imagine, there are all different people talking in different ways. We make the fence huge enough so that the elderly can see and they know what we are talking about, the rationale of designing those fence. There are also discussions with different groups like the elderly, the housewife, the children, etc. This one is actually an inspection of a full-size model. You do it with Tendra and invite them to see all the details here and listen to the views as well. That's completed, and in fact, because of that discussion with the local people, they want to have a heritage corner here. Initially, we thought we separated the use of space, and actually they said, no, I don't want to be separated, I want to be elderly, with the children, and so on. So we mix them, that's all. So some of the idea actually what the architect thought is not really realized, because this is not what we want. So different groups of people with different requirements. So that one we make it into a cafe, the Hong Kong style cafe, downtown. They have to sit there all the time. Of course, universal access and full-size modeling. That actually is a model, that's not the new case. Before we actually do it, we always make full-size model so that we can work out the details, and then it's easier for the user to provide options. Universal access, aging in place, is a must find now. That's as a completed use facilities. Incidentally, for all these climatic studies, you have to do in situ checking afterwards. So we do that and we calibrate our software, and then we have this 1 year post-completion users survey, and then this one is 99% satisfaction, very, very high satisfaction rate on this. And actually the population will not like it, because the people like it. Now, the second one is called lamping. Lamping, just like it's an old estate, completed in the 60s. So that's what the settlement estate. So So that's why I saw the sort of similarity between our settlement asset and the water, because they are all built in the 50s and 60s. So this has been now demolished. This is a big asset, not the biggest, but big.